Merry Christmas Eve, guys.
What is up, guys? It is literally Christmas Eve. Hope you guys are having a great Christmas Eve. Tomorrow's about to be Christmas, so once tomorrow's Christmas, I hope you guys have a great Christmas. But today I wanted to come onto this channel and talk about how these superbikes are affecting my wallet. So what is it like owning 3 superbikes at the age of 20 years old, not paying rent, working 2 jobs, trying to get these things paid off, and have one paid off? If you don't know, this is a Ducati 959 Panigale. This is a 2018. This is a 2014 Suzuki Hayabusa. And right here is a 2018 Ninja H2 SX SE Plus. I don't know why they had the plus, but these 3 bikes are actually very, very, very expensive to maintain. I'm gonna kind of go into that, starting off with this bike, the Ninja H2 SX SE. This bike is at its 16,000 mile part, where it's gonna probably need its valves adjusted soon, probably the supercharger lube, probably a new oil change, new filter, new coolant. It's definitely gonna need a coolant swap because it definitely looks pretty blue, unless there's a blue coolant, but usually I think it's green. Its timing chain, probably tensioned, and probably just a couple more things, maybe a couple tires. It definitely needs a new battery because it's completely dead, by the way. This bike, at its service rate, is probably gonna cost about $2,000 to do all of that. Very, very, very inexpensive. Money that I don't really have right now, so that's why this bike has just been sitting. This bike is very, very electronically compact, so it means it has like a bunch of stuff that you can probably imagine: cruise control, heated grips, the whole electrical harness by itself, traction control, turn signals, and all the other stuff, the modes. It's just got a lot into it, you know? So it's a very delicate bike to put back together, which is probably why the service rate is gonna be about $2,000. So pretty freaking expensive. Note to self on gas too. It's got pretty good gas mileage. I don't really remember what the mile per gallon rate is on this thing because I can't really turn it on because it's completely dead. But a couple pulls on this thing and I'm pretty much empty. It's pretty bad on gas, and it's really hard not to do any pulls on this thing because, come on, it's a freaking supercharged bike. What are you gonna do? The fluids and everything are gonna be expensive. It definitely needs new brake pads, I'm pretty sure. Those are like 300 bucks in itself. And to get someone to do it because I don't really know how to do brake pads. At least I'm learning, or at least I wouldn't touch it on this bike because, you know, I'd rather have a professional do this bike. Now with insurance on this bike alone, it's about, I think it's $350. I'm not sure, I have to look it up again. But my total rate for my insurance a month for both of these bikes is actually $540, so it might be a little bit less. Insurance-wise, for a 20-year-old with 2 superbikes currently on my plan, is $540, and that's a lot of money, honestly. Most people don't even pay that much for 2 cars, I'm pretty sure. You pay like maybe 100, maybe 150 bucks, or maybe even 50 bucks a month. But these definitely need full coverage because they're superbikes, and if anything were to happen, I definitely would like to get full compensation, or at least something when I can if something happened. The Busa is also very expensive to maintain. It's also at 16,000 mark, and I have no idea when it's gonna need its valves adjusted. It probably needs it now, but I'm not hearing anything weird with the engine. The engine sounds relatively normal, so I'm just kind of waiting on that. This definitely has like a tiny tick, but then it goes away, so it could be fuel injector tick, I don't know. I'm gonna get it looked at, and then they're gonna fix it. But with this, it's been my daily. I mean, I've literally had no issues with this. I daily traffic this thing back and forth, and the heating is great. Like, it doesn't overheat. I hear no weird engine noises. It idles perfectly fine, so it might just be built like a bullet, because I know Suzuki is pretty known for that. They are pretty reliable. Maintenance-wise, it's pretty expensive too. I generally do a lot of the oil changes and air filter changes and spark plugs on my own with this bike because it's simple. It's Suzuki, it's really simple. It's like this is like a giant computer, and this is just like no electronics. There's literally barely any electronics on this bike. So that's why it's pretty easy for me to do. With this one's also on the insurance, and like I said before, it comes out to $540 a month. That's because, I mean, obviously you're a 20-year-old on a Gixxer 1300, you know, they're gonna charge you that much. I know when I turn 25, it'll go down, hopefully, but this is a pretty expensive bike. Gas mileage on this bike, it's pretty bad. It's so hard not to do pulls, like I'm saying. This is more like, it's preventative, but even if you're just kind of cruising normal, your mile per gallon ratio is pretty bad. I mean, that's expected. It's a big engine, so it's gonna need a lot. But like just normal like cruising, I guess it's all right. Yeah, this thing is pretty expensive too. This thing costed me about $10,000. I got it from a dealer, so I feel like I definitely got scammed. This one was $15,000. This one was $7,900 I got off Facebook. Even the cost for this bike. So this bike was super expensive for me because my fairings keep flying off. I don't know why they kept flying off, but they just did. And that costed me about like $2,500 in just fairings alone. Just to get the bolt kits too, to get the new exhaust. I mean, that, you know, that was my choice, but I got a new exhaust for it and everything. The little winglets, new windscreen. I probably have like 5 of these in my garage right now. That's how many I have. All the old fairings are in the back right there, and like new gas cap and everything. So this bike alone is costing me almost what I could have got another bike. Yeah, I don't know. They just kept flying off. I had to deal with it. Good thing I'm alive. They flew off when I was going pretty fast, so that was pretty scary. But I'm glad they haven't done that in a while. I've definitely taken this thing up to like pretty good speeds. All right, 2018 Ducati Panigale 959. Really just picked this bike up, and it's basically brand new. It only has 4,500 miles on it so far. It says that it needs its oil light or its oil service, so probably gonna have to fork out like $500 for that. But that's also pretty expensive too. This is not on my insurance yet. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with this, if I'm even gonna keep it or put it up for something a little better. But I think I'm definitely going to keep this bike because of how clean it is. It really still has its objects and mirror are closer than they appear on the freaking mirror. If we're talking about expensive bikes, most expensive ones, I believe. The Ducati Panigale. Ducati's known for being expensive in maintenance-wise and MSRP prices. Even used Ducatis are expensive. Just everything about this biker is expensive. It's all stuff that Ducati has to do kind of on their own. You can't just tinker in with it and do it right. You gotta bring it to a Ducati place. And their charge rates are gonna be expensive because, well, you know, it's Ducati. It's like a Ferrari. These are not that. These are like your typical sport cars. This is like your Ferrari. You gotta treat it like a Ferrari. Just the oil change alone, I used to own a Supersport 950. Just the oil change alone was like $500. Which is pretty crazy because I can do that cheaper on this bike, not that one, but this bike for like $100 to go buy the stuff. But $500 for an oil change. For the Desmo service, it's generally been around $3,000. I'm pretty sure that's how much they were gonna charge me for my last Super Sport, which was a 2023. $3,000, maybe $2,500 to $3,000 for just the Desmo service. People generally sell their Ducatis before that mark because they don't want to do that. But if you're a Ducati fanboy and you don't care about that, just like I'm probably gonna have to do with this one day, but definitely not any really time soon, so we should be all right. But for the insurance, I'm probably gonna get liability because, I mean, it's paid off. This one's financed, or this one's about to be paid off, and that one's financed. That's like my car right there. That's like my main, so I'm kind of sad that it's down, but I do drive a car. But that one is gonna be like my car once summertime hits. That's the daily. I don't even know how much that's gonna be. That's probably gonna be like $100 a month to add it on to this. So it's probably gonna be like $640 a month, maybe even $7. I don't know. Pretty crazy. I mean, you know, living anywhere, you generally have to have insurance, but a pretty big rate. So my wallet's definitely not gonna like that. But yeah, so maintenance-wise, it's pretty expensive. Insurance-wise, it's pretty expensive. Even just the tires. I mean, for any bike, tires are pretty expensive. I feel like these are more expensive, probably because they're Rossos. I mean, you can get other tires from, but Rosso tires are pretty freaking expensive. It was like $800 for my last tire set with my Super Sport. Then I got a freaking nail in it, so we are not having the best of luck. Thankfully, as of now, I do not pay rent. I'm very fortunate for that, and I am very appreciative of that. I obviously do other things to help make up for it. That actually helps me a lot with these type of bills that are being paid for these bikes. And literally in maybe a couple months, we're gonna be buying a BMW S1K. So that's gonna also be pretty pricey, I believe. It's not gonna be anything new. It's gonna be like a 2014 probably, but pretty expensive Facebook purchase again. Pretty scared how that's gonna come out, but I am looking forward to it because it'll be pretty good content, I believe. But yeah, Superbikes are pretty expensive. I think just owning one is enough, and then maybe some other naked bike or something. But having 3 of them definitely tanks your wallet a lot, and it's gonna be crying for help. But that's all right because I think these are really fun to ride. If it's a passion, you know, no money can amount to it, and you just do what you like. When it comes to storing these things, I honestly have it pretty good, I believe. I was able to get my own garage and was able to furnish it a little bit and put these puppies in here and let them be safe from the outside weather. Not everyone has that ability to do that, and that's okay because they sell covers, bike locks to keep them safe out from other people, and just like other accessories that you can use to keep your bike safe and safe from the weather. Is it practical owning 3 super bikes? Definitely not. You definitely only need 1 bike. Or 2. I mean, I don't know, depending on what you like. But if you want to collect them, you're definitely going to be looking at a very pricey payment a month, or just pricey in maintenance and gas and all that stuff. But if you love doing it, do it. I mean, if you have the money to financially support yourself and support your hobby and your dream, I think you should definitely do it because it's definitely worth it. I think having these 3 bikes has definitely been a whole lot of fun. I just love them. I love how they look in the garage. I love riding them. I love that I can just hop on another one. I honestly cannot own a 600 or anything lower than that unless I'm dailying it and not putting miles on these bikes. Because like once you hop on a 1000cc bike, it's honestly it's a new leaf that you turn. You don't go back. You really don't go back. You go 1000cc and you don't go back. I definitely think that if you're gonna want to do that, do your research on which one you want, which one you think is going to fit you more, and own it. But definitely want to let you know that if you're going to own 3, it's definitely expensive as hell, especially at 20 years old. So definitely be prepared for that if you're going to ever do that.